is Brittany McKinley from BrittanyBakes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious applesauce your family has ever tasted. The best part about it is it's a slow cooker recipe, so it's something that you can do while you're around with the kids getting ready in the morning. Put it aside while you're out doing all of your errands and supermom tasks, and at the end of the day, when it's all done, you can scoop a little bit out and enjoy it with your family. It's as easy as that. So, to get started, we're going to take some apples. Now these apples are Jonah Golds. The kids and I picked these on our 3rd annual back-to-school apple picking experience that we do every year. When the kids moved in with us, I wanted to come up with something really fun that we could do as a family. You know, kind of a bonding experience. And I figured, what's better than picking apples? So, it's something that's become a tradition between the kids and I. A couple days ago, we happened to pick some of these apples. You can use really any type that you want. If you have a preference with one or the other, that's fine. But our local orchard happened to be growing Jonah Golds, and I love them. So that's what we picked, and that's what we're going to use today. So we're going to start with these apples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by slicing the apples in half, peeling them, coring them, and putting them into little slices and throwing them in the slow cooker. That's the prep work. Very easy. So, you can really do whatever you want, just as long as you cut up the apples into small chunks and put them in the slow cooker. You can have the kids help you. One thing that my mom used to do when I was a kid growing up in Minnesota is she would peel the apples whenever she was making a pie, and she would form like a little assembly line with the 4 of us kids. She'd peel the apples, cut them in half, and then give my brother and I butter knives to help cut the apples into slices. When my older sister was a little older, she'd let her do some of the peeling and the cutting the apples in half, you know, the big kid stuff and everything. You don't want the little kids getting hurt with the big knives and everything. And, you know, my little sister was kind of too little to be really helping with much of anything, so she would really just eat the apples. That was her part of the assembly line. But, you know, the important thing about all of that is we grew up with a love of making things with our mother and enjoying ourselves in the kitchen and working with healthy ingredients. And back. Had to get the baby. Hi, Evangeline. You want to say hi to everybody? Hi. Before you know it, you're going to be eating some of this applesauce. How does that sound? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on cutting up these apples and throwing them into the container. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have at least 8 apples. 8 apples is the base of your recipe. If you want to make more than one batch, then multiply it. So if you want to make double batch, then that's 16 apples. If you want to make a triple batch, then it's going to be 24 apples. You can go however you want. But that's just the baseline. I'm going to multiply this by about 3 or 4, so I have enough applesauce to can, which I'll show you how to do at a later date, to keep through the winter, so my kids can have nice, delicious, fresh applesauce that we made, that they can feel good about, and they can remember that they helped make it. And the other thing is, I'm going to make a couple jars of it sugar-free, so little one over here can have some as well. Alright. So, in the pot these apples go. Now all of my waste I'm just putting in a bowl. It's really important to have everything that you need with you when you start. Otherwise you're running back and forth, you don't have everything that you need, and it gets a little chaotic. And I think that's part of why some people don't like cooking, just because it can seem really chaotic and messy. But if you keep everything that you're using right in front of you and stay very organized, it's actually pretty quick. Right, Evangeline? Alright, and we're back. All of the apples are cut, sliced, peeled, cored, everything. They're ready to go. They're in the pot. I'm ready to get this cooking. What do you think? Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is for every 8 apples that you have, you're going to put half a cup of water into the slow cooker with them. The water is going to help keep them moist. It's also going to keep them sticking from the bottom, and it's going to thin out the mixture a little more so it turns into a sauce and not an apple paste. Alright, so I'm going to take my 1½ cups of water, because I am making 3 batches, and pour it all over the apples. Yum, yum, yum. Alright, next, I'm going to take a couple cinnamon sticks, 2 probably, and stick it in the slow cooker with these apples. I'm going to shove them right down in there where the water is so the nice cinnamony flavor can really infuse in the applesauce while it's cooking. I love the smell of cinnamon. It always reminds me of fall, and you know, as soon as the end of summer rolls around and the stores start clearing out the beach stuff and everything, and they're making room for the fall decorations and everything, you can just smell the cinnamon and the pine cones and everything like that they have it on display. It just makes me so happy, and it makes me think of apples and all of the great traditions that come along with fall. I'm a fall person. Probably not living in the right state for it, because New Jersey's pretty much, you know, good for its beaches, definitely. But we have some really good fall stuff too. So I've got those cinnamon sticks way down in the bottom. Now, if you don't have cinnamon sticks, you could also use ground cinnamon instead. I would say probably about half a teaspoon for every 8 apples that you have. So if you're doing a single batch, you're going to do half a cup of water, half a teaspoon of cinnamon in the slow cooker with the apples, mix it all up. Also, I'm going to add a little nutmeg because nutmeg just makes everything better. So let's take this, and for the nutmeg, I'm going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon for every batch that I'm making. So 3 batches, so 3/4 teaspoons of the nutmeg. Alright, so we put that in. There we go. It doesn't have to be exact. If you're not a nutmeg person, don't add it. If you want a little more cinnamon, then put that. Like I said, this is really just a guideline for how you can make your sauce. If there's something else that you think might taste really good in there, go right ahead and put that in. Alright. Now, one of my favorite things to go along with this is vanilla. Vanilla just adds a sweet, amazing, delicious flavor to the applesauce that you don't get in a lot of jarred varieties. So that's my little special secret. So I am going to take, not vanilla extract, although I love that, and I hope you're using pure vanilla extract and not imitation. There's a huge difference. I'm going to take a vanilla bean. Now these you can buy at any grocery store, normally in the baking section and everything. Sometimes you might have to go to a specialty store. You can also get them at places like Costco in bottles like this, and it's a lot less expensive. So, you know, it's a way to make your everyday cooking a little more gourmet for your kids. Now, to get inside the vanilla bean, you are going to take a small paring knife, make a slit down the middle of it, and open it up. Once you have it open up, you're going to scoop out the beans and add them to your mixture. So, you can't really see it, but that's exactly what I'm doing. Just be really careful. This is a job for you. It's not really a job for the kids unless you really trust them with their knife skills and everything. But it's not something I would have, you know, my 8-year-old stepson Connor working on. And actually, if I had him do this, he would probably say, "Why are you having me put a worm in the applesauce?" And then I would joke with him and say, "Well, because how many times have you bitten into an apple and found a worm? It's appropriate." Yeah, okay. I'm kind of lame. It's all right. So I'm scooping out the vanilla beans. Oh, I can already smell the delicious flavor coming out of them. And you're really just going to get about the amount that covers the tip of a teaspoon. It's really not a whole lot. You can just use your fingers to slide it in there. Your hands should be clean, obviously. That's another thing you need to watch out with kids when they're cooking with you. I'm all for kids being in the kitchen, but sometimes, you know, you got to make sure that you're supervising and making sure that they're cleaning the way that they should. Otherwise, you're going to end up with hairy applesauce or dirty cookies or anything like that. And you don't really want to eat that. So that's when you say, "Oh, my stomach's hurting. I don't know if I can eat that tonight." Alright. So I have my vanilla beans in, I have my cinnamon in, I have my water in, I got my nutmeg. Again, add any other things if you'd like to. And I'm just going to stir this around a little to make sure that the vanilla gets down in there, the nutmeg kind of coats everything. All that. The cinnamon sticks are way down in. This is already smelling delicious, and it's not even cooking yet. Now, I'm going to take my lid, put that right on top, and I'm gonna go plug this in. I'm gonna set it on low for 8 hours. You might need a little longer if you're doing a larger batch like I am, but you really just wanna keep coming back every couple hours and checking on it. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set it on low for 8 hours. I'm gonna make sure that the water is mixing with everything. I'm gonna give it a stir every couple hours and check on it. But in 8 hours, we should be pretty good. So I'll meet you back here then, and we'll go from there. Hi everyone, I'm back. As you can see, it's the end of the day. We've already had dinner, the kids are in bed, and my applesauce is done. It cooked for 8 hours, and while I wasn't able to get back to it after it was done cooking, the great thing about a slow cooker is when it's done cooking, most of them will keep whatever's inside hot for a little while longer, so you don't have to rush and make sure that you get there right when it's done. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to taste our final product. That's steam. Alright, I'm taking a clean spoon. Wow. It's hot, and it's very delicious. It's got an amazing taste to it that you just can't get in a lot of store brands. Excellent. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with the product. So what I'm going to do now, while the apples are mostly cooked down into sort of a sauce, I still am going to give it a quick blast with my immersion blender. An immersion blender is just a blender that you can plug in that goes into things like sauces and soups and whatever, and it can puree them without taking everything and sticking it in a blender or a food processor. It's really handy, especially for things like adding vegetables to sauces and trying to hide them for your kids. That's a trick for you moms. Best way to sneak vegetables in, get an immersion blender. Alright, so before I blend up my applesauce, I'm going to scoop out those cinnamon sticks that we added. If I can find them. It's kind of hard to find them in a big 7-quart pot. Let's see. Where are you hiding? Somewhere in there. Alright. So we're just going to take those right out. There we go. Put this to the side. Simple as that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this applesauce and I'm actually going to can it using boiling water and sterilized jars. That's going to give me sauce that's going to last for about 6 months. If you don't want to do home canning, a lot of people get a little nervous about that. What you can also do is either freeze it or you can make simply enough to put into the fridge. One trick for freezing it is use ice cube trays. Take a ladle, pour all of it into an ice cube tray, stick it in the freezer, pop out the frozen cubes, and put them into a gallon-sized bag, which is perfect for taking out just as much as you want to heat up whenever you want it. Alright, well, I hope you really enjoyed this recipe, and I look forward to bringing you many more. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.